Good morning. It doesn't seem possible that we are already in the month of March and already at the second Sunday of Lent. I don't know how your Lenten journey is going, but I guess mine is still a work in process. I'm working at fasting. I'm thinking more and more about almsgiving, especially since we don't have our envelopes yet. But what I'm really trying to focus on this Lent is prayer. I'm working on the essence and the power of silence. I know for me, when I come into church or if I take time to pray, I kneel or I sit down and I just right away start talking, jabbering, asking God for things, speaking to Him, saying my prayers. This Lent I am working on just being present to God in the silence and listening. This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to Him. Our Gospel of Matthew today is about the Transfiguration. When we think of the Transfiguration or transforming in our own lives, we often think of one's physical state. The guy or girl who loses 30 or 40 pounds and they seems to transform right in front of our very eyes. We don't usually think of Jesus in His clothes becoming white as light. And most often, transformation happens in our mind and in our hearts. One evening at the dinner table with Eileen and our 4 boys, when the boys were just little guys in elementary school, one of the boys announced that one of his classmates' parents were getting divorced. So we had a little family discussion about that, and we talked about how sad it is that a mom and dad don't get along, or they no longer share the chores around the house. And I said to the boys, wouldn't it be sad if your mother moved away? I don't know what we would do. Well, our oldest son, Dan, spoke up and he said, if that happens, I'll help you do the cooking, Dad. Then son number 2, John, he mentioned that he was a good cleaner, so he could help me clean the house. Then little Peter, young Peter, he said, I know how to vacuum. I can help you vacuum. Then all eyes went to Thomas, son number 3, who hadn't said a word. And Tom spoke up and said, I'm going with Mom. She already knows how to do all that stuff, he said. This little discussion around our dining room table showed us just how important Eileen is to our family, the light of our lives for sure. Kind of like the Transfiguration scene in the Gospel showed how important Jesus was to His disciples. They experienced a glimpse of heaven that day, and Jesus' transfiguration was surely a sign of hope. Our Catechism of the Catholic Church describes the Transfiguration as a moment of disclosure of His divine grace, and it confirms that Jesus is the Son of God. The Transfiguration is a special event in which God allowed certain apostles to have a privileged spiritual experience that would mean strengthening their faith for challenges that they would later endure. In the same way, certain times in our lives, God gives us special graces that help us to strengthen our faith. Up there on the mountain, Jesus' outer appearance was reflective of His interior state. I truly admire people whose faith is so strong that they never seem to get rattled about anything. They seem to live in a type of spiritual state. It's beautiful. I recently had a dear friend, Jerry, lose his oldest grandchild tragically. He was heartbroken. But you know what he said to me? He said, our faith will get us through this. And then he said, our faith has prepared us for this type of horrible situation. And I thought, what a powerful and amazing faith-filled perspective. My friend Jerry certainly has been given special graces in his life to be able to deal with such a situation. Theologians point out that the Transfiguration is a dramatic event that recalls Jesus' baptism and anticipates his resurrection. And the appearance of Moses as lawgiver and Elijah as prophet confirm that Jesus fulfills both the law and the prophecies. The Transfiguration is where earth meets heaven. Jesus brings up the mountain with him, his earthly apostles, Peter, James, and John, to meet the heavenly apostles, Moses and Elijah. And this should give all of us, as listeners, hope in our own glory, resurrection, and transfiguration. I believe that we can all be transformed in our lives for the better. But in order to do this, we often need to rely on God and sometimes each other. I'd like to take a moment now and have you look around the church at the people in our church. So I ask that you look at the people to your left and right in your pews, across the aisle. Take a look at the people in front of you. Turn around and see the people in back of you for a moment. All of us are at different points and stages of our own faith and Lenten journey. Some of us are searching. Some of us are hurting or sad. Some of us are happy. Father Larry always seems to be happy. Some of us are stuck. And some of us are striving for that silence. I know I am. And some of us are dealing with really difficult situations in our lives. But you know what? We're all here, together, here in the presence of God, in his home. As he says to us in our scriptures today, rise and do not be afraid. I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you. Let us all believe and cry out to God and say, Lord, let your mercy be upon us as we place our trust in you. His disciples were privileged to see Jesus in glory, to recognize that their friend was fully present to them and to God. Our Lord Jesus Christ was transfigured, made dazzling white by the interior shining of his divinity for us, for you and I. He saved us and called us to a holy life, not according to our works, but according to his own design. We should all feel so blessed and so thankful, as Peter did when he said, Lord, it is good that we are here. So today, let us listen in the silence of our hearts and know that it is good that we are here. And as we come to the Lord's table to receive Jesus in the Eucharist this morning, may we strive to climb that holy mountain so we can see and experience Jesus, to meet him in the silence and listen to him. It is then that we will encounter the living Christ, whose love for us transforms us. Have a blessed day.